They're about, I would have spawned these not this winter but the winter before, so they're actually more than a year old already. You can get them up to market size within sort of 12 months if you really push them hard and space them out. That's our commercial fish food, so you get it in all different sizes. It's mainly fish meal. It's really high in protein. It's like 55% protein. They add vitamins and sort of pigmentation and stuff as well.
So it's a long-term project. I mean, a couple of years.
Hatches them and everything.
So yeah, winter time I anaesthetize the fish and basically push the eggs out of the females and push the sperm out of the males. You can look at the sperm and stuff under the microscope as well, which is pretty interesting, and then you see the full development happening in the egg. So trout eggs are actually quite large compared to other fish. How big are they? They're nearly as big as some of these pellets actually, and they're bright orange, like you see salmon roe and stuff in the shops probably in the States. And trout have been done for hundreds of years, pretty much in Europe and in America. And when they hatch out of the egg, they're such a big juvenile fish that they can take to a commercial dried powder straight away. Whereas other fish, you need to produce algae and microscopic organisms to feed the baby fish, so that can be quite.
Because they're smaller. When they're
barramundi is one, for example, that's widely done, and you need to be farming algae, and it's a much bigger process.
More complicated.
Trout and salmon are pretty easy. Like they're part of the salmoniid family, and there's lots of different types of trout and salmon. I've got about 5 different species at the moment now.
5 different species between the trout and the salmon?
Yeah. I'll show you them.
Okay.
So I mainly do rainbow trout, and that's Victoria produces the most rainbow trout in the whole of Australia. Because our water's nice and cool, and they're basically an easy fish to do as well.
So how in the world did this become your thing?
I don't know. I still ask myself the same question. Because it is stressful sometimes. The fish need constant water flow and constant oxygen. So if this water flow, for example, stopped, they would exhaust all the oxygen in the water and they would all suffocate and die. And that would probably, in this weather, probably within an hour they'd struggle.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So it's constant monitoring.
Yeah, and you're constantly cleaning the screens to make sure the flow's not blocked. You can get dissolved oxygen meters as well, so you put them in the water and you can tell your oxygen level. You can tell quite often with the fish's behaviour. So they don't really like hot summers. And fortunately we've had, this river's fed from Lake Eildon, which is actually fed from the bottom of the lake. So when the lake's nice and full, it's cool water all year round. Throughout drought periods that we've had, that lake's dropped down to about 10%. And that's like a 2 mil pellet, but it goes right down to like a fine powder. So when you do your first feeds, the fish actually hatch with a yolk sac, which they'll sit on the bottom, and that provides enough nutrients for the first about 2 weeks. So they'll sit on the bottom and they'll just use that energy in the yolk sac, and then it's called the swim up stage, where that completely shrinks away and they become like little long fish, and then they all start swimming pretty much in the same day to the surface, and that's when they're ready for their first feed. And you're pretty much just dusting it over the surface for them, and you want them to sort of get used to feeding from the top. And you can get sinking or floating feeds, but it just depends on what type of fish you're growing in. And We call them raceway systems. These are much newer sort of technology
Uh-huh.
because you have more water flow going through there. We can also inject oxygen into the water if need be. We used to do that. We have an oxygen generator over there which produces like 80% pure, as many eggs as I need.
So how do you pick them? Which ones you're going to get eggs from? Do you?
These will be sort of hand selected over the years. Like I'll also get rid of ones that have deformities. So some will get cataracts in the eyes, they'll lose fins, they'll get scratches and marks on them, or definitely like deformities you throw out. So these ones usually are all in tip-top condition. And every year I get rid of some of them,
Okay.
change them over with fresh.